Choosing the right hiking shoes can be difficult at the best of times, and choosing the wrong hiking shoes can be costly and frustrating. So I'm going to share with you the best 5 hiking shoes depending on what type of activity that you want to do, what type of support that you need, and the type of foot that you have. So that at the end of the video you have a better idea of which one will work best for you. If we start first of all with the New Balance Hierro V9. Now this is a max cushion shoe with fresh foam max cushioning that's really comfortable, really cloud-like. You sink into it and you can stand on it all day. It gives you lots of protection underneath your foot. Coupled up with 4mm lugs that give you good traction on moderately deep mud, on technical terrains, changing direction. So excellent traction underneath your foot. The fresh foam max cushioning is nice and padded. You've got plenty of stiffness underneath your forefoot to protect you, even though there's not a rock plate in there. And on top of the shoe, you've got a nice abrasive covering to give some durability to the upper. And you've got a nice lockdown on the midfoot and the heel so you're not slipping inside the shoe. This is an excellent option if you're looking for a max cushion shoe for long distance hikes. One of the downsides of this shoe is that if you're looking for some stability in your footwear, this may not be the best option, as more cushioning tends to make a shoe a little bit more unstable compared to some other options that we'll talk about today. Then a completely contrasting shoe is the Altra Outroad 3. Now this shoe has a zero drop, which Altra are renowned for, so that means no difference in the height from the back to the front of the shoe. It has 27mm of cushioning throughout the whole shoe, in contrast to the New Balance, which had 42mm of cushioning underneath the heel. So that's a 50mm difference in terms of the cushioning, and the Ego Max cushioning in the Altra range is a relatively firm cushioning. The benefit of this is it really gives you a really good ground contact feel, can make you feel really stable underfoot. One of the downsides is if you're not used to it, especially the zero drop, it can place extra stress on your Achilles tendon, on your calf muscle. One of the key benefits of the Altra range is that it's got an anatomical toe box, so it's really wide compared to what we see in the New Balance and other shoes that we'll talk about today, and in my opinion this should be how all toe boxes should be shaped. They do a good job at locking down the heel and the midfoot, which means that your foot doesn't slip forward too much when you're going downhill despite the wide toe box. And underneath the shoe you've got 3mm lugs, which give you relatively good grip on light to moderately technical terrain. Not the same traction as what you get in the New Balance, which should cover you for wet grass and entry-level hikes. So an interesting option from the Altra range, which gives you zero drop and plenty of space for your toes to display. Then we have a bit of an all-rounder in the ASICS Trabuco 13. So this is an excellent option if you're looking for a really comfortable shoe that's not as max stack as the New Balance. It has 34mm in the heel and 26 in the forefoot, giving you a slightly higher drop than what we get in the New Balance, which gives you a nice distribution from the back to the front. That facilitates the push-off phase of the gait cycle. It has 3.3mm lugs, so slightly more than what we have in the Altra, to give you excellent traction, especially if you're moving from the road to the trails when you're doing your hikes. It's got FF Blast cushioning, which is quite balanced, so you don't sink into it as much as what you do in the New Balance, but it's definitely not as firm as what we saw in the Altra. On top, it's got a normal fit, but it comes in a wide version for those of you with a broader fit. Excellent lockdown on top, and a great option overall if you're looking for a neutral shoe with some elements of stability, plenty of padding under your foot for those longer hikes, but you can also take it on the road as well, or on gravel paths, depending on what terrain you prefer. So a bit of an all-rounder. And then we have a slightly contrasting shoe in the Cloudvista 2 Waterproof. So we've got a complete waterproof membrane on top of the shoe, which is excellent for those of you moving into the winter months. A nice abrasive cover on the front, but it's also quite stiff, which gives you some protection to your toes if you kick a branch or a root. It's got OnCloud signature Cloud Tech cushioning, so that's the holes in the cushioning, and it's actually quite deceptive. You look at it and you would think that it's quite soft and quite mushy, but when you apply pressure to this shoe, it's actually quite firm overall. And similar to the Altra, it gives you a really good ground contact feel. It has a 5mm drop from the back to the front, has a nice 4-foot rocker, and similar to what we see in the ASICS, it's got 3 to 3.5mm lugs underneath the shoe, positioned in an L shape to give you plenty of grip underfoot. So an issue that we had with the original Cloudvista is that you'd move inside the shoe quite a bit, especially when you're coming downhill or changing directions. They've corrected that in the more recent model, so now this shoe has a nice lockdown in the midfoot that really makes you feel secure in the shoe, so you're not moving or slipping out of the shoe. It's got some mild sidewalls on the outside and the inside of the heel that really keeps you locked down inside the shoe as well. So this is what we classify as a stable neutral shoe, plenty of grip for most terrains, and you've got that waterproof membrane on top. Then finally, we've got the HOKA Challenger 8. This is personally one of my favorite all-rounder shoes. One of the downsides of this shoe is that it has a really narrow toe box and the narrowest of all 5 shoes today. It does come in a wide version for those of you who are worried about the width. Got a great lockdown on top, and we've got HOKA's classic CMEVA cushioning, which is really balanced overall, really comfortable. They've transitioned from a 5mm to an 8mm drop, so slightly larger, and you've got 4mm lugs, similar to what we have in the New Balance, underneath the shoe to give you plenty of traction on most trails that you're going to encounter. So this is an excellent option for those long hiking days, transitioning from road onto the trail. If you want lots of comfort underneath your foot with a slightly higher drop than the 4mm in the New Balance, an excellent all-rounder, and I think probably one of the most popular shoes of 2025. So if you have any questions on these shoes, please drop them in the comment section below. I got links to all the shoes in the description if you want to check out the latest price on Amazon. Buying through the links helps fund the channel without affecting the price that you pay. But do let us know your thoughts on the shoes. Otherwise, if you just found the video helpful or interesting, like and share and subscribing does make a massive difference to the channel.